Countries have responded to Donald Trump begging for help in Iran, and they're telling him to go pound sand. Now, if you missed it this morning, Donald Trump woke up and decided he would beg our allies for help in his war in Iran, specifically in the Strait of Hormuz, to escort tankers through. Well, nobody responded, so Donald Trump decided to ask again, saying, quote, "The USA has beaten and completely decimated Iran, both militarily, economically, and in every other way. But the countries of the world that receive oil through the Hormuz Strait must take care of that passage, and we will help a lot." Yeah, well, Donald Trump said that, and countries started to respond. The UK, France, Germany have all said they're not sending any ships. Essentially, telling Donald Trump, you started this war. You got into this by yourself, said you didn't need our help, said we couldn't help you if we wanted to. Now you're begging. You figure it out on your own. Donald Trump is in the find out phase of what it means to turn on your allies. And now that you need their help, surprise, surprise, they're not there.
Gan. Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Rakakudash, and double honors unto the apostles and elders agreed millstone. Peace and salutations unto the 144,000. This is Brother Kali with another lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai. And Lord willing, this video will be edifying, right? It'll be a quick lesson because it's not to say this was unexpected. You know, we know that these things was gonna happen. You know, the scriptures say that, right? I should probably get that too as well before I read this one. I might at least have it on deck if there's anything. The nations. GMS 51, right? So this is Psalms 55 and verse 20. It says, "He had put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him. He had broken his covenant." Remember, well, firstly, covenant is an agreement, right? Or just as the NLT says, promises. So let me read it. It says, "As for my companion, he betrayed his friends, he broke his promises," right? Because remember that video that I did a while back, right? Where it is America wanted Greenland, and they was telling the NATO members to back off, right? Because if they get involved, they will do something to them, basically, right? Which we know is not pet them or anything pretty. You understand? It's like they will start war with them too as well. So he basically threatened his allies already to accomplish his goals, right? Because as this devil keep boasting and bragging is that they are the most powerful military in the world, the most strongest, this, that, and the other, right? Now, that is something that was before, right? That is something that was before, because what is it going to say here? In Isaiah 14. Let's see here. Let's see. I'm going to read the point. There's Isaiah 14 and 10. It says, "And they shall all, Salakia, and they shall speak and say unto thee, Art thou also become weak as we? Art thou become like unto us? Thy pomp is brought down to the grave, and the noise of thy vials, the worm is spread under thee, and the worms cover thee." Right? So you see, this is what the other nations have to say now. Because after you're flexing and you're talking about this, because you heard in the video as well, the first time he made a request, no one answered. And then the second time he asked, right, Upon asking the second time, it's like you bragged more times. You tell them you destroyed, you know, Iran, militantly, economically, and all these different things. But yet still, they're still asking for help. And they was like, no, you understand? You start this. And the nation starting to see it, right? The nation starting to see it. So that is why also how we read the Jeremiah now. Jeremiah 51 and 7, it says, Babylon had been a golden cup in the Lord's hand that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken over wine, therefore the nations are mad. Right? So you see, the nations will start to get angry with Babylon now because it's like they know the trap that they fell into. You understand? And I'm pretty sure some of them pick up on it for years. You understand? But what could they have done really at that point in time? Because remember, America was that hammer the earth. You understand? But now the Lord put the spirit, in Putin, right? And Xi Jinping, right? As well as the allied countries around the world, right? Just like Iran, they've been planning for over 20 years for this. You understand? They have a well structured plan. And they the Lord put it in their spirit to boost up their military, You understand? The Lord said I know the precept, but as always to set up. Yeah, Isaiah 54 and 16, it says, Behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his work, and I have created the waster to destroy. Right? So you see, the Lord is the one that created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire. Right? Those smith going back into the scientists and whatnot that created these new nuclear bombs and whatnot that Russia has. The Lord puts it in their spirit to do that. You understand? So now, America is no longer the most powerful nation upon the earth, right? That no longer happening because even with Iran,
Iran just made a major power move against Donald Trump in his own war as they appear to stay one step ahead of him. Now, as you know, Donald Trump has begged our allies to send their warships through the Strait of Hormuz to escort oil tankers through to help ease the rising global oil prices. Well, Iran has sent out a counter proposal to countries, letting them know they will not attack their ships, that any ship can get through the Strait of Hormuz if they meet two conditions. One, they must not be affiliated with the U.S. or Israel, and two, they must trade in Chinese yuan instead of the dollar. If they meet those two conditions, they won't be touched. They're letting the world know you don't need to get involved in Donald Trump's war. We won't bother you if you don't bother us. And so far, the rest of the world has not sent warships. And this is a major move because Donald Trump got into this with no plan. Make no mistake, we are absolutely crushing Iran militarily. We are destroying them. But when it comes to the political battle of this war, Donald Trump is losing big time.
right, so you heard it there for yourself. The part that I wanted to specifically get at was when he mentioned that Iran, politically destroying America, right, with their plan. Now, he still end up talking bullshit about, military-wise, they completely destroying them, right, which is untrue. They're losing that as well. But nevertheless, when they talk about the same thing as in the other video that I showed in the beginning, right, the trade routes and thing block off for America, right? But other countries are allowed to do so if they're not affiliated with the US, right? Also, if it is they trading in another currency. So this political plan that they have, right, it literally gonna crumble America. It's gonna cripple America economically. You understand? This is another reason as to why it is the other countries have no reason to join America. You understand? They seeing this as an opportunity, you know. That is why again the German 51 city nations are mad because they drunk off of wine before. You understand? They were deceived on all these different things. And now as they see this opportunity, they're gonna side with her. No. You understand? That's why we had to read the Revelation 17:16 as well. Right? But Lord willing, we will get that coming on to the end. So right. So the Lord have that in their spirit to do just that, right? Let me go back to the I could read probably a little more in this. I'll read verse 12 and normally we just read down in this. Yeah, read verse 12 with Isaiah 14. It says, how art thou fallen from Lucifer? Salakia. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? Right? And we know Lucifer means light bearer and whatnot. You know, they're on the left hand side, right? So asking the question how they brought down so low, right? And them was the ones that weaken the nations, right? Because why? Is the Lord had that done, right? Say, for thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven, I will exalt my throne above the stars of heaven. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. Yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. They that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and say, consider thee, saying, is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake kingdoms? And this is it. People gonna marvel at America now and be like, what the fuck? America get weak, boy. Is that I will say that? Or some of them might be like, but Iran and Russia and China and them, and they surpass America with military power. What going on here? But one way or the other, is the same thing. You understand? Because in truth and in fact, America did get weak. Because if the other nations surpass them, right, theoretically speaking, well, actually, I shouldn't even say theoretically because it's factual. So factually speaking, that it is true. America is technically weaker now. You understand? So they could afford to do something about it. You understand? For all the years they've been bullied by America, these nations seeing this as an opportunity. They're seeing this as an opportunity. So all these years of planning that Iran did and whatnot, working. You understand? Brother Rashalom was going into it yesterday in the works, where they bombed one of the well, not one, but bombed the Abraham, what do you call it, boy? The Abraham tanker thing, where he say, let me see if I could Google that, boy. I wonder. That's how America does flex power, as you were saying. America. This Abraham Lincoln ship. Let me see. Because he was speaking and saying that it's similar to it's like a mini America rolling, you know. You see look at the titles. Just yappa.
United States is taking heavy losses in the war in West Asia. It has lost 13 soldiers so far and 140 of them are injured. 4 American jets have crashed, 10 American radars lie in ruin. But a bigger problem seems to be appearing in the high seas. Iran claims that it has struck American nuclear-powered warship. The CENTCOM has quickly denied this claim. Our next story brings you more details.
Titans of the US Navy are facing a trial by fire in the volatile waters of West Asia. From the Arabian Sea to the Red Sea, American supercarriers are being hunted by a new generation of Iranian lethality. The untouchable symbols of global power are suddenly looking vulnerable under a hail of Iranian weapons. Iranian forces say they targeted the U.S. aircraft carrier USS Abraham Lincoln. Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps Navy says that
Well, yeah, they're saying this AI generated video, right? I can't really hear anything. Is one thing with these iPhones. I don't know why. That really sickening, but I know he was going into it and was speaking about the same thing. So obviously that wouldn't be the exact footage of. But the point about it is that it did happen, right? And this ship, right, is what is be used to flex America's power, because it's like they have this big powerful ship, you understand, that mobile and could go anywhere and dish out punishment, and Iran found a way to take out that, you understand. The Lord had the spirit on them to do that. So here's the thing, this that happening right now, right? They literally weakening America, you understand? When the prophecy from Russia to take them out, they making Russia work a lot easier, you understand? Hey, that's why yesterday I was saying it works, and then Big Brother and God even repeated after. He was saying there one more prophecy, which is that MOTB. One more prophecy, and we talk about major prophecy, you understand? Because from that, Jacob's trouble and all these things gonna start a community effect, and so it's just gonna be like a trickle in, so when that MOTB kick off, right, because that had to come first, because within the time of Jacob's trouble, right, all of that is inclusive of World War III and all these things, you understand? So that is why we say one more, because if it is the MOTB that done kick off already, we would have know, the Lord could come back at any time. You understand? Because all the prophecies done released already, But it's just for this now. It's just for this now, and you see that homos that get closed off. You understand? That's gonna be a major part to play in it as well, as to how it is this whole system gonna become digital. You understand? Things getting real. Things getting real. So let's go back in the scriptures and close off real quick. Let me jump back in the Psalm 55, read the last verse, and then I'll read the Revelation 17 and close out while So this is Psalm 55, and continuing in verse 21, it says, "The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet they were drawn swords." And this is how America been dealing with all their allies and every other nation for how much years, right? These devils, they show no mercy. They tell themselves they're the most powerful nation, so they could do whatever the hell they want. Now, they never thought they would come where it is they're getting weaker and they're getting decimated to this point. You understand? So it's like now they're begging for help and they can't get it. Because again, the nations are mad. Right? The nations are mad, and I probably might title the video that or something to that effect. But they would. This devil talking big. You understand? Just as the scripture saying in Revelation, they speak, they have horns like a lamb and speak as a dragon, something to that effect. Alright, let me see if I can get it. I don't want to butcher it. Let me see if I get it. Speak as a dragon. Revelation 13 and 11. It says, "And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb and speak as a dragon, right? And that is it. And that is it. So when you look at it now, these devils, right? And I'm saying devils because remember, the elites and them is the one that pulling the strings for America too, and also inclusive of Netanyahu because he's the one in partnership with America, right? But these devils, you know, they talk a big game, right? And you see how he try to use smooth words to win over his allies by saying, hey, we decimated Iran militantly, economically, and all these different things. But they're not falling for that anymore. They're not falling for that anymore. In fact, what's going on with them here? This is what you see in Revelation and read the last verse. This is Revelation 17 and 16. It says, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. Right? So that time coming where that anger going to become action. You understand? It's going to become action. So these things, and funny enough, the nations, 3 of the nations that are part of the NATO, right? France, Germany, and UK that was mentioned in the video, right? They're not allied. They're not gonna help America in this. You understand? They got up and they walk away, right? Now, the UK, they left the EU in 2020 January, right? But they're still part of NATO, which is the military part, which was made to assist, like a membership, So you help me, I help you, military-wise and whatnot. The EU was more for trading and whatnot, right? But they left that, so you can see, they observant and they understand certain things, and they're like, hey, this ain't working out for me because you're reaping all the benefits off of this. You understand? So, again, these nations seen it as an opportunity to take out America because they're just being bullies at this point. You understand? So, hey, it is what it is now. It is what it is now. They had to feel the brunt of that. So, I hope this lesson was edifying through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shai. Till next time, I say Shalom.